Health, it's festive season. There's so much to speak about. Let's not waste any time and get started. World Mental Health Day 2024 is here. We are breaking the silence, stressing on the stress of success. Is work costing us our mental health? No phones, more focus? Is that the idea? Can tech really solve the mental health issues in the country? That will be the interesting conversation on the program today. Talking about stress at work, we meet a spiritual guru who used to be a CEO of a company. His spiritual awakening, what took him outside of the boardrooms to the Himalayas, we'll get into an insight into Sri Anish. And Navratri season is on, but with it, lot of guilty eating indulgences. So we thought we'll give you an insight into how to keep your appetite the right way and how to ensure you're not damaging your system too much. That's coming up on the show. And talking about the festive season, we've got Abhijit back on the program and he has his take on how a lot of us actually behave this festive season. Be sure to catch on to that. All right, let's start the program today with something which perhaps all of us know by now, but so important to highlight. With 1 in every 7 Indians grappling with mental health issues, the silent battles of mental illness affects millions. We all know that by now. It could be anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, all becoming all too familiar. And October 10th now marks the World Mental Health Day. So we thought we'll get a head start on this one. This year's theme for World Mental Health Day is actually focus on mental health in the workplace. Rings a bell, right? Some of something all of us can really actually relate to. Tragic cases like Anna Sebastian from EY, whose death was linked to work stress, sparked major controversies across the country. But unfortunately, it's not an isolated case at all. And it's also not a problem that has an overnight solution. But we can try to turn empathy into action, urge individuals, communities to advocate for mental health and well-being in workplaces towards a better future. Every voice could be heard, every struggle acknowledged, and perhaps every life can truly flourish as well. But how will this happen? Well, here's a gnawing fact for you. India today has 1 psychiatrist for over 2 lakh people. There are just about over 3,000 clinical psychologists registered with the Rehabilitation Council of India. That's like a RCI registration that they need. And according to Indian government's own figures, at the moment in the country, we need around 13,000 more psychiatrists. So how will this gap be met? Is tech a solution perhaps? Well, we'll explore all these questions on the TBC this morning. So let me bring in our guests now. Joining us are 2 of the country's biggest players in the mental health space, and they are mental health providers as well. First up, let me introduce Ramakant Vempatti. He is a co-founder and president of Vyasa. Vyasa is a mental health app. It has a startup which works over for 6.5 million people, and they also boast of being international. They are across several countries, in Singapore, in UK, in schools in Scotland as well, and also they pride themselves of being the first AI-based mental health app to be compliant with the NHS standard of clinical safety. So lovely to talk to you, Ramakant, this morning. Also with us is Dr. Amit Malik, founder and CEO of Amaha. Amaha Health operates in 3 physical centers. They are located in Mumbai, they are in Delhi, they are also in Bengaluru. And they have a team of over 150 therapists, psychiatrists as well. And they have a lot of corporate client base as well. So important these days to actually manage things at work. And the point to note here with Amaha is they actually started as being a tech-forward platform, and then they sort of switched back, going back to physical centers. So I'm very keen to understand what the learnings were over there. But let me, on that note, give the first word to Ramakant then. Ramakant, help us understand this. We look at tech for a lot of solutions in today's world. We are in the world of AI. It's very likely that mental health, which has a massive gap in trying to meet with the requirements of the day, will have a tech solution as well. But I dread to think of how mental health issues, which study after study say are injected or come to us through on-screen presence, there is going to be another screen which will perhaps solve this problem for us. So give us an understanding.
Thank you, Sonal. Thank you for having me here as well. You're absolutely right. You go back and say, hey, there's an app for everything. And is there an app for mental health? Do you need an app for mental health? I think that's the big question which most people ask when I start talking about what we do. Visa is, it came out of personal need. So I think we ourselves in our friends and family network struggle with depression, with suicide. And also we realized that, like you very rightly mentioned, access is a huge issue. So in terms of the number of people whom you can, even if you with all the will and all the resources in the world, you're not able to, for a variety of reasons, including sometimes it's cost, sometimes it's stigma, sometimes it's lack of awareness and knowledge. And because of all these reasons, even if you wanted to go out and reach out for help, one, you don't know what to reach out to help for, and second, you don't know where to go. And we struggled through that ourselves, even though we had all the access and resources in the world. When you have depression, it's very hard to get out of bed. So how are you going to go and see a therapist? Drive, park, go. In the workplace, if the therapist is sitting in an open cubicle, you can't go into a cubicle and then in front of your co-workers or your managers, you're scared your manager will find out. So there is a place for a tech solution which is discreet, which is available when you need it, where you need it. Be in the morning, you want to talk, your family is not around, your therapist is not around, but you still have all these thoughts in your head. So how do you get them out? And it needs to be affordable, and it needs to be available at a place and at a time where people might need it and they may not have the ability to go out and reach out for help. So it is not a replacement and should not be a replacement for a human being, but it is, if you think of it like a funnel, you're actually expanding access 10 times by offering this on a mobile phone. And what Visa does is it creates and delivers a therapeutic intervention, creates a safe space for people to talk about what's bothering them using an AI conversational platform or an AI chatbot. So that's what we do. And now, like you said, 6.5 million people across 100 countries have used this. It's rated 4.8 on the Play stores. So a lot of people have told us that this helps. But at the same time, you do need to connect this to human beings. You do need to connect this to human services. So the solution is a combination. It's not an either or.
I like that. I like that how tech in isolation cannot help. There has to be human intervention, but perhaps tech can help us identify, and it can be the first foot in the door in a way, or just to get you that window. So that's a good way to start. Dr. Amit Malik, let me bring you in then. What got you to sort of ditch the chatbot and go on to say that, boss, we need to go back to therapy rooms. We need to go back to a room where people feel safe and they can physically come and get some good counseling, some good advice.
So, thank you again and good morning, everybody. So I'm a psychiatrist by background, and really the thinking process for us was, how do we build an organization in India that can really solve for people with moderate to severe mental health needs? Right? So how do we actually address the needs of families with moderate to severe depression, with anxiety, with schizophrenia, with bipolar disorder? And we always knew that that will require a hybrid solution. Right? So as Ramakant pointed out, with Amaha, our thought process always was to build the full spectrum. But when we started, we also felt that solving for the access part was very, very critical. So we did start digital. And then as we started seeing traction on the digital funnel and traction on the digital platform, we then added professionals. And then as our professionals started seeing clients who needed more than just online care and needed to be seen face-to-face or in person, we started opening our clinics. So we now have 6 centers across 3 cities, right? So it's been a journey. And this is a chatbot and the platform today act as a guide and an adjunct, as Ramakant was talking about, to our clinical services. But the core of what we do is really work with individuals and families across severe mental illness with our professionals across these cities.
Okay. Dr. Amit, I have a follow-up to this. I think the biggest issue at the moment with mental health centers and even counseling centers, etc. in the country is the quality of people, the quality of counselors, the quality of psychiatrists, and because there are enough and more people who will sit down for it, but it really comes down to what they are doing at an individual capacity, and there is a burnout at their level as well. The business of mental health has become so huge in the country that somewhere the quality is taking a hit and all of us are feeling it. What is your solution to that?
So, I mean, it's a very good question. That's really a big part of what we do, right? So I come from a background of running large mental health services in the global market. And so really thinking about how do we quality monitor both quantitatively and qualitatively, right? How do we look at numbers and data? And that's where actually technology really helps us in looking at individual clinician performance. But also then how do we look at and how do we build supervision structures at an individual level and at a group level? How do we build care protocols that support practice? How do we take feedback from individual clients that makes us enhance the individual and collective practice is what really a big focus of ours is. So we spend about 50-60% of our effort just looking at our clinician platform, our clinician information, our clinician data. We have set up sort of 3-tier supervision structures for all our clinicians. There's a lot of quality monitoring that happens, right? So that and we manage workloads very carefully. So we have a caseload management tool that allows us to make sure that our therapists or psychiatrists are not working more than they should be, that each client is getting the attention they need. So I think on the clinician side, looking at the qualitative, the numbers, and then the stories of how these care is being delivered is very, very important, both at an individual clinician level as well as at a collective level. So we can, and then getting feedback for that performance at both those levels is very important. And we keep doing that regularly. So we constantly do that. And that's what helps us keep our quality up. Our feedback scores are very, very high. Our outcomes are very good compared to the regular population. So that's how we know it's working, the process is working basically.
Right. I have lots to say actually in this business of mental health which has taken off in the country and the targets that have been set by several companies. We hear horror stories about that every day, and this is a very crucial time for mental health in India, and we don't get it right now, it could sort of boomerang on us later. Ramakant, come in on this. We are at one end talking about the quality of people in the system. On the other, you have chatbots telling you what to do. But give me an insight. So today, if I were to go on the app, and I were to say that, I had a really stressful day at work, I'm getting palpitation, I'm feeling not really myself. What does the app really do? Is there an algo? Give me a snippet of that.
So we have 30 clinicians on staff. So we have 30 clinical psychologists who all help in creating a conversational experience on the chatbot which is safe, which is clinically valid, and which is engaging. So we also have an entire conversational design team which sits and actually creates a chat which doesn't feel as if it's a clinician talking to you. It feels like it's a buddy. So you stay anonymous on the app. So when you download the app, you download Wiser, and you don't have to even give anything about yourself. No name, no phone number. You stay anonymous. I can call myself Superman or Rajnikant and have an entire conversation. And so it at one stroke, it is removing a large part of that barrier for people to come forward and even talk about what's bothering them. We had a story, in fact, about the anonymity and the discreet nature of the service. This lady from a very large IT services company, which operates across 53 countries, so we serve them as a client right now. She wrote in and said that she had an entire session of therapy or a therapeutic conversation while sitting with her family in front of the television, and nobody got to know. So and as you can imagine, that is a huge plus for people to then come back and saying, hey, I actually want to have a conversation. So if you download it, you would do a registration or a sign-up process which doesn't include any personally identifiable information, And then the chatbot starts asking you what is bothering you. And in the situation which you mentioned, there will be a space for you to vent, to talk about. So there'll be a lot of context which the bot will elicit. So ask you lots of open-ended questions and create an entire picture of what is bothering you. And sometimes that itself is enough for people to create for you to create a space to vent and just talk about what's bothering you. Then, depending on what you have said, then there are a variety of techniques which can be delivered. So it could be meditation, it could be a mindfulness technique. In some cases, people have when people have a certain threshold of distress which they've crossed, then you can actually, the bot will even handhold them to go and speak to somebody, which is a human being. So there is an entire process. You can deliver CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is also very well known to work in a self-help context. So there's an entire conversation technique there. I, for example, use it to manage worry and to manage difficult conversations. So there's a technique which the bot will give you where it pretends that it's the other person. Imagine you're having conflict at work and your boss is coming and shouting at you. Now you want to have a very productive conversation with your boss, but you want to rehearse it first. And there is a technique called a difficult empty chair technique, which the bot will simulate the entire conversation and saying, okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm the boss and let's have the conversation, what's bothering you.
Fascinating.
And then the entire conversation, so you can practice that and then also alleviate your distress.
Right. I think I have time for one more question and I want to throw it open to both of you. And this is regarding the theme for this year, which is mental health at work. We have enough and more evidence and stories around us at this moment in India. And Anna Sebastian is not the only one, like we said. So in your opinion, and Dr. Malik, you can go first. Since you deal with so many of corporate clients, how deep is the understanding of leadership of this issue? Because what we concluded was, it doesn't matter what you do on the ground, it doesn't matter how many psychologists you have on campus, on roles, or you have HR which is intruding, till the time the leadership doesn't wake up to it, things won't change.
That's absolutely true. And I think what we see as data is that where leadership is fully aligned and on board and aware is where you see the highest uptake in organizations of mental health support. Right? So your data is absolutely correct. And I think in the last 4 years, things have changed dramatically. Like I've been doing this for 25 years now. And the last 4 years, it seems like a serious shift in how leaders approach mental health at the workplace. This seriousness which is seen, and that's fantastic, right? So we've done a number of, so when we do launches now, we often have the global CEO or the chairperson of the organization in large organizations doing a roundtable to launch the program. Whereas 6-7 years ago, this would be a peripheral priority for the HR teams, basically. So I do think things have shifted significantly. And here at Amma, I think what we've also learned is that the case mix has shifted. So what people are presenting with, even in the workplace, are more complex needs and more complex difficulties that require sort of more complex support. I think so that understanding with more evolved teams is becoming more apparent, and therefore we're seeing this massive shift now in the conversation. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have a slightly
I'm hoping big companies are also included in this. Ramakant, quickly.
Yeah, sorry, I have a slightly bearish take on this, which is that I think demand is exploding. As the new generation is coming into the workforce. Mental health has entered the conversation and people are comfortable talking about it. They also recognize the impact it has on performance. I think companies are struggling to keep up. You have slightly traditional methods of support, like the help desks and the panel of psychologists and so on. Typically uptake or usage is between 1% and 3%. And on the other hand, you have something like COVID, because of which mental distress is 100% or maybe 80-90%. All of us have had mental distress and have had that experience saying, I want to talk to somebody and I don't know whom to talk to. And of course, it was much worse during lockdown. So how do you manage that demand supply, that huge gap which exists? 90% of your people need help, 3% of people are actually taking help. And how do you bridge that gap? So, and I do think, and of course, the tragic incidents which have happened in the recent past, I do think that there is an opportunity for everybody to get together. So the employer, the employees, and maybe representation of employees, providers like us who are trying to solve the problem, and actually get together and saying, look, there has to be a new way of doing it, because what we are doing today is not working. And it is, and we are seeing this in anecdotal evidence. We're seeing this in tragic incidents, which then come and hit the press. And I feel bad for the employer because they're trying really hard to create systems of support, but unfortunately nobody is using them. So what do you do? Is there something else you can do? And I think that's a conversation we really need to have. World Mental Health Day this year, I think, is a great time to start that conversation. And we are very optimistic from that point of view, because now we are having these conversations with employers, with public health systems, with insurance companies. So at least people have started talking about it, but the time has come to do something different.
All right. That's a beautiful note to sort of end this discussion on. Time is never enough when you're talking about mental health, but we'll perhaps take it up more and more. That's our promise on The Breakfast Club, to keep the issue and the discussion alive. Dr. Amit Malik, Ramakant Patti, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
But staying on the subject, our person of interest today is also an interesting one. We are joined by an individual who's taken a remarkable journey all the way from boardroom to the Himalayas. This is Sri Anish, a former corporate CEO and a successful entrepreneur who left it all behind to pursue a deeper spiritual quest. After over a decade of intense spiritual practices, he's now a spiritual teacher, a humanitarian, leadership mentor, author, and a public speaker. So what exactly made him ditch the boardroom, go all the way on his spiritual quest? He joins us on the program now. Good morning, Anishji. Thank you so much for speaking with us and joining us this morning. What a day to be having this conversation. Before I get into and sort of pick your brains a little bit on my own spiritual quest that I want to follow, I want to understand your calling. What took you away from being this very successful CEO, ditch the boardroom and go all the way to the Himalayas?
I think I had seen very early on in my career, got a lot of success early on. I was very blessed and lucky. And I had seen the whole format of the corporate world. I was CEO at the age of 27. I was raising money, investing in companies by the age of 29. And that whole format seemed a little out of tune. And I wanted to explore a little more deeper in life. What is this life all about? Is there something beyond this script or this format that we know? Is there something beyond this format also? Are there different ways to live a fulfilling life? So as we say, what is the true essence and meaning of life? That's what I really wanted to explore, which we call the spiritual journey, the spiritual quest. And that's what took me away from the boardroom to the Himalayas for good 10, 12 years. That was a time of incognito.
Nice. So, Anishji, I mean, I have to say this, that, a lot of people think about it. You are actually somebody who did it, but you have family, you have kids, you have wife. You have gone from being a CEO to very visibly gone through a transition and looking like one as well. So how did it go at home? How did the family take this transition? It mustn't have been easy.
So I was married when I took this call. I had a son who was just about 2-3 years old. And of course, my parents and extended family. So my wife really supported this, and she said, no matter what, I'm going to be around you. And the kid was too small to understand what was really going on. They are very, you can mold them in either ways when they are very young. So my wife and my child, they said that we want to be in the Himalayas. We won't disturb your meditation practices or the sadhana that you want to, but we want to be around. So they chose to be there where I was, and I was sometime, few days I would be with them, and few days, I would be in the Agyatwas, as they call it, which is in the solitude. But of course, the larger family, your relatives, your parents, it's very tough and difficult for them. Actually, it's difficult for your immediate family, your wife, your child also, because you're suddenly changing the entire script. From the known zone of life, you are entering into an absolute unknown zone of life. And there's a huge, we've been trained to be, to look like, Is the future secure? That's what we're trying to do throughout our life. And here suddenly you are taking a decision where you're saying nothing is secure in life. Now let's explore who we are. So part of the family supported, part of the family were absolutely against this madness, they called it. But now they are all in love with me. They all are in absolute support. They become part of the ashram.
All right. So let's shift focus to mental health now after having understood your journey. What, according to you, today is the reason for this heightened mental health issues that we are seeing around us all the time? As somebody who's been on the other side, who's been in the workforce, what are your takeaways?
Sonal, one thing is very sure. You see, we are part of nature, Sonal. We are not part of technology. Technology is part of us, part of our life. We are not part of the technology. We are part of nature. If you look at a human being, we've come from the Panchabhutas, the five elements. Now, whenever, and these five elements, the earth, water, air, sky, and fire, these five elements, Sonal, if they are out of balance, your system is going to feel absolute stress for sure. You can't run away from that. If these five elements, which are the base of your existence, your whole body, mind is made up of that. If that's out of sync, the stress is going to come to you. You're going to experience stress. Now, what is really happening, the way we've created the life around us, we've moved too far away from the natural systems. And we've moved too much into the technology systems. That's where the fault lines are. It is surely going to give us huge amount of stress. And believe you me, Sonal, stress has become a very common word, but it is a very dangerous word, by the way. We don't really understand. You say people are more aware about stress. I don't think so. People have been using the word stress a lot. I don't think they're really aware about what stress is all about, what it does to you. People are not aware about that. What is the reason and what is the end result of this? I don't think people are really aware about the magnitude of the problem today. It's going to come to us. It's already coming to us in a massive way. Now, I don't think we are prepared to handle this. Us as individuals, our institutions, our medical systems, I don't think we are really ready to handle the onslaught which is just going to come to us now. It's on the doorsteps, knocking.
Yeah. We've identified the problem, but Anishji, the thing is not everybody can leave family, work, ambitions, aspirations behind and go to the hills. Do you have some takeaways for us, lesser mortals, on how to handle stress?
Few things on this, Sonal, as the fundamental points. First of all, let's understand what stress is all about. Stress basically means our inability to handle something. Yeah, you go to a gym and on first day, if you do heavy weights, your muscles are not ready to handle that. And then for next 10 days, your muscles will surely ache. So every muscle of your body needs to build that resilience. It happens slowly. And then you're able to handle heavy weight, the stress of heavy weights. Your muscles are able to handle that. So it's number one. Stress is the inability to handle the situations around us. Yeah, I gave you the example of the body. Similarly, your mind also have muscles and they need to be trained to handle the pressure. If they're not trained to handle the pressure, they will experience enormous amount of stress. That's fundamental. Number one. Number two, look at the way we are treating we're talking about work. Let's look at the way we are treating our work, Sonal. There are two words I want to share with you and the audience here. There are two words in Hindi. One is called Karam Kshetra, the field of work. The other word is called Yuddha Kshetra, the battlefield. Now we've just gone confused with that. We've converted our Karam Kshetras, which is the field of work, into Kurukshetras, or the battlefield. Your offices, your boardrooms are not battlefield. I've seen many organizations, we call it war rooms. I'm sorry, they're not war rooms. Your office, your chair, your desk, your meeting rooms is the field of your karma, field of work. They're not battlefield. This understanding, we need to really put that understanding into every boss and every subordinate. We are not at war. Our offices, our institution is not a war zone. We are not at war. Please understand this.
All right, don't turn workplace into war zones. That's a good takeaway and a good perspective to keep in mind. A good way to start the day as well. Thank you so much, Anish ji, for joining us this morning and sharing all those insights. All right, on that note, we've talked a lot about work. It's time to talk about all the play, but that's coming up on the other side. As the festive season kicks in, we'll tell you all about maintaining a healthy balance, and also we've got some laughs. See you at the event.
Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus coming out from his residence, moving towards first the temple to offer. You can see the victory sign. You can see the victory sign of Narender Singh Sidhus showing to the media and the confidence that is reflecting on his face. We'll try to speak to him. Let's see what he says.
सैनी साहब 16,000 से ज्यादा की लीड आपको मिली है। हरियाणा की बात करो यार। हरियाणा में भी मैंडेट आपको दिया गया है। हाथ में हाथ लग जाएगा। लाडवा की जनता का लाडवा के माइक को लगने दो। धन्यवाद नहीं मुंह पे पीछे रहेगा, मुंह से पीछे रहेगा। मैं उसके लिए लाडवा के लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के 280 लाख लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ और अपने लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री विश्व के नेता आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ये पूरा का पूरा श्रेय मैं आदरणीय मोदी जी को देता हूँ। उनके आशीर्वाद से, उनकी गाइडलाइन के अंदर उनकी जो नीतियाँ हैं, उन नीतियों के ऊपर हरियाणा के लोगों ने मोहर लगाई है। मैं हरियाणा की जनता का जहाँ दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, उनको प्रणाम करता हूँ। वहीं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जो ये तीसरी बार हरियाणा की ऐतिहासिक जीत हुई है, इसके लिए भी मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं अपनी उच्च लीडरशिप का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के लाखों भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं का दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि जिनकी कड़ी मेहनत और पसीना बहा करके उन्होंने इस ऐतिहासिक जीत का जो दिलवाई है वो पूरे धन्यवाद के पात्र। हरियाणा के लोगों को दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गोहाना की जलेबी की फैक्ट्री
खेतों हाथ अलग से करो। जाने दो। पंकज उधर क्या हो यार, एक मिनट।
Okay, that's the Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus, the man of the moment after he has put up that spectacular win, and I can't really declare it because the counting is still going on, but Sidhus has already put up that victory sign. He thanked the Prime Minister, he thanked the people of Haryana. He's still speaking. Let's just cut straight across and listen in. You can understand, this is the residence of the Chief Minister of Haryana, Narender Singh Sidhus, so you can just imagine the mad rush just to catch his reaction. He's still speaking.
welcome back. We looked at mental health at work, but this is the festive season. How can we not give you a dose of that? And here's our eye on Navratri. It comes, it brings with it lots of vibrant energy, garba, a lot of food, and the quintessential Indian quirk. So Abhijit Bhatt is here to give you a take on what it's like to be around India in this festive season. Have a look and enjoy.
अरे भाई सुनो, ये व्रत में दूध तो पी सकते हैं ना? चलो, वेरी गुड।
अच्छा भाई सुन, एक बात बता, अगर मैं चाउमीन के ऊपर सेंधा नमक छिड़क दूं तो वो व्रत वाला खाना हो जाएगा क्या? अच्छा नहीं होगा?
देखो, ऐसा है, व्रत का खाना व्रत के खाने के जैसे खाया करो है। सुबह से 36 कुट्टू की पुड़ियां बेल चुकी हूँ मैं। 1.5 किलो कुट्टू का आटा रहता है 9 दिनों के लिए, 1.5 घंटे में खत्म कर देता हूँ बेटे ने।
यार सुन, कुछ भी करके कॉन्सर्ट के टिकट चला दे यार, पीछे के भी चलेंगे, मिल ही नहीं रहे मेरे को। अबे कोल्ड प्ले जाते हैं लेने, मैं तो फाल्गुनी पाठक के कॉन्सर्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ यार।
अरे भाई सुनो, ये व्रत में ड्राई फ्रूट तो खा सकते हैं ना भाई? चलो, वेरी गुड।
यार एक बात बता, अगर मैं मोमोज के ऊपर सेंधा नमक छिड़क दूं तो वो व्रत वाला खाना हो जाता है क्या? ओहो, नहीं होता क्या? अरे यार अरे भैया सुनो, आधा किलो शकरकंदी और 6 केले कर दो और सूखा नारियल। अरे मम्मी, पर मिला तो दिया सेंधा नमक इसके ऊपर, वो तो क्या व्रत?
साबूदाने की खीर, कट्टू का आटा, सेंधा नमक।
हाँ हेलो, चुगली चिकन। अच्छा सुनो भैया, एक काम करो, एक तो आप बना दो काठी चिकन रोल, ठीक है? उसमें डबल चिकन करना, और सुनो एक्स्ट्रा प्याज, एक्स्ट्रा चटनी, ठीक है? और
बताओ, जरा सी भी शर्म नहीं आना इतना जलील और घटिया काम करते हुए है?
मम्मी
बेटा, मैं नहीं देख रही हूँ, कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन ऊपर वाली माता रानी ना सब देख रही है बेटा। गुड्डन, बबलू, पिंकी, टिंकू, पुन्नी, सबको देख, रोज के रोज मंदिर जाते हैं। तू है अधर्मी कहीं का। ओहो, 9 दिन ऐसे कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा है बाबा।
अरे मम्मी,
मेरे घर में पैदा होता है ऐसे राक्षस को। छी 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 छी।
नहीं।
अब खिला दो तेरे को कुट्टू की पूड़ी, आराम से घर में चढ़ना मर के।
You know, the thing is, even if you are eating vrat ka khana, as they say, it is actually filled with carbs, has a lot of oil. So one really has to wonder what's going on over here and what it's doing to your gut, which brings us to our next guest. As the festive season has kicked in, maintaining a healthy balance can be a challenge. In fact, is a challenge. So joining us next is a fitness coach and nutritionist, Prateek Kumar. Hi, Prateek. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. You just heard Abhijit there go over all the quirks or what happens inside the house. I don't know what you're sipping on this morning, but I really would love to understand for all of us who are getting into late night parties, and if you're in the northern part of the country, you know, Diwali cards party have already begun. How does one go about maintaining balance in life?
Hi, good morning. You're looking fabulous today. I'm sipping on coffee. That's what I have early in the morning. But that's what one should have on a breakfast show. But coming to the point, like अभी जो हमारा festive season चल रहा है, and people are going out, they're out till late, and they're not only partying but also dancing and burning extra calories. They're bound to feel hungry. So having a good range or a good option is in terms of snacking is really good. So people can, usually the stigma is that हमको कुछ fried खाना है, like you just said, it's going to be carb heavy. But having carbs is not a bad thing, especially when you're burning off, when you're doing your garbas and your dances and everything. You can move to snacks like air fried potato chips. They're really good. Roasted makhanas are really good. Having raw banana wafers is really good. ये सब चीजें आप है ना air fry कर सकते हो. The ideal thing that you want to do when you're snacking or picking out snacks for the festive season is that pick one ingredient. ये जो हम लोग बहुत सारी चीजें मिक्स करके हम लोग बनाते हैं, जैसे आप मिठाई दिखा रहे हो, that's a lot of ingredients together, that means a lot of calories together. So even if you're doing banana chips or potato chips, that is one source of carbohydrate which does not spike your blood sugar as much. A vegetable source will also keep it balanced for you, so it won't cause any issues as such, and you can eat it in quantity. तो आपको ऐसा नहीं कि अपने आप को मारना है और कम खाना है. आप अच्छे से खा सकते हैं, replenish your glycogen stores and enjoy the entire festive season.
Yeah, it's very easy to say enjoy the festive season, but the fact is when you start eating and when you go out and indulge and you're talking with people, you just don't know where to stop. So my question to you is, how does one look at proportions when you're eating out?
A good practice would be to eat a little bit at home, eat your meal at home and then step out so that you don't end up consuming a lot of fried stuff. And that will also make sure that you have that balance and you've got the right nutrition at home. क्योंकि अक्सर ये होता है when we don't get the right nutrition, it's when the deficiencies kick in and they cause those cravings. So a good option would be to eat decently. आप घर पे ठीक साथ खा के निकलिए. And then when you're out, you can always like indulge. There are so many healthy options now, like especially makhanas. They are available everywhere, which is really good in a source of fiber. It keep you full for a longer time. आप popcorn खा सकते हो. These things usually take up a lot of volume in your gut, so आप इसको over consume कर भी नहीं सकते.
Yeah. But there's another entire school of thought which says that listen, ये 9 दिन का ही तो festival है, couple of months only, why not indulge, go for it, and then later I'll do like this detox diet, I'll do fasting to ensure that all that extra calories that I picked up are shed off. What's your take on that?
एक तो अभी आई थिंक अक्टूबर से लेके जनवरी तक हमारे फेस्टिव सीजन चलते रहते हैं. सो हम ये 9 दिन को बोले और दशहरा, दिवाली और बैक टू बैक जो चीजें आती रहती है. हम इंडिया में आई थिंक गणपति, गणेश चतुर्थी के बाद ही काफी कुछ चीजें हट जाती है. इनफैक्ट इन फिटनेस वी कॉल इट द हॉलिडे हैंगओवर सीजन, एंड बिकॉज पीपल डोंट वांट टू एक्चुअली टेक केयर ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन एज मच. बट दैट बीइंग सेड, ये जो फास्टिंग का प्रोटोकॉल है कि हम हाई कैलोरी खा लेंगे फिर बाद में सोचेंगे कि यार हम नहीं खाते हैं, हम अपने आप को पनिश करेंगे, ये एक मेंटल सिग्नलिंग बहुत गलत छोड़ता है. इट स्टार्ट्स बिल्डिंग फूड डिसऑर्डर्स आल्सो, डिसऑर्डर्ड ईटिंग इनफैक्ट. तो वो ना करके हम अगर बैलेंस मेंटेन रखें तो हमको डिटॉक्स का ये थॉट प्रोसेस रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. अल्टीमेटली ये खाना ही है, हमको उससे डरने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. वी हैव टू एक्चुअली ओवरकम दिस एंटायर फियर ऑफ फूड एंड ईट इट इन मॉडरेशन थ्रू आउट द ईयर. आप जैन में भी खा लो, जब भी बाहर जा रहे हो तभी आप अगस्त में भी खा लो, अक्टूबर में भी खा लो, दिसंबर में भी खा लो, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा मॉडरेशन में खाओ, क्योंकि कहीं भाग थोड़ी रहा है. इट इज over there, you can eat it whenever you want it.
Right. And now these days everything is available in 10 minutes and 8 minutes, and so it's really the cravings have increased when the time to actually indulge in it has gone down, which is a bit of a paradox. Last question then, Prateek. One of the biggest issues at this point, you talked about a holiday hangover, is dropouts from gyms as well. You feel lazy, the weather is turning, you feel like, oh, let me not go pull in those 5 kilometer, that 5 kilometer run, or let go of the weights today. Do you have a mantra on how to motivate yourself to go out and work out during this festive season?
Find a buddy. Find a fitness buddy. That's most beneficial. If you have somebody who is accompanying you or keeping you accountable, if you have a coach, a trainer, or if a partner, that is going to really be productive. Now, on the flip side, like you said, it could be paradoxical. If your buddy is acting a little demotivated, then it could be a problem. So you want to have a mix of having a buddy and at the same time joining a group class or something like that, because group में क्या लोग एक साथ जाते हैं तो somebody or the other always shows up. And that builds up the motivation. Yes, it's kind of difficult at the time of the year to stay consistent. But having a diverse or a spread out workout program or a movement plan is really a good thing. So a group activity, an individual activity with a coach or a buddy will really make it easier for you to keep moving.
Yeah, that sounds fun, to have a buddy who either both of you will go or none of you will go. It can go either way. So choose your buddy carefully. I think that's the key. But before I let you go, Prateek, a lot of house parties are thrown around this time of the year, and there is a whole spread. Everybody wants to put out the best of things possible. Of late in the metros, people are getting very conscious about it. They want to serve dinner first and go to drinks later, just to sort of get your gut in place. They also want to serve something which is healthy. Do you have some tips on snacks or food items that can be served at home, made at home, which are yum, delicious, go with the festive mood, but don't take a toll on your health?
पूरा दिवाली का मेन्यू आप अभी ले लो. But what you want to do is you want to actually like have good snacks. No, absolutely. But you want to have like desserts. Like one good option is to have a Greek yogurt lassi with honey. That is a high protein option that keeps your gut full. And then after that, if you feel like having a few drinks like tequila or whiskey, straight up drinks, you can actually consume that. आप उसमें भी ज़्यादा consume नहीं करोगे, आपका blood sugar spike नहीं होगा. You can have some high protein almond flour cookies and mithais kept ready at home. So even that will be low in calorie, high in fiber. You can consume that to line your gut. Popcorn, like I said earlier, air fried French fries are a great option. So you can have this, and yes, like how people are getting very conscious, they should be eating first and then consuming alcohol later. That's a great practice because that doesn't allow your food to get mixed up with the alcohol, because हमारी body alcohol को break down नहीं कर पाती है. So eating first, drinking after that is the option. And like I said, these options are great. Eating simpler, lesser ingredients, less processed, and prepared in a simpler way is the right key.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope to get inspired with that this festive season. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Navratras to you too. And on that note, we are going to slip into a quick break. Coming up on the other side, the other thing that comes in this festive season and the turn of the weather, which is pollution. We've got a check for you on the other side.
Lights! Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus coming out from his residence, moving towards first the temple to offer, and you can see the victory sign. You can see the victory sign of Narender Singh Sidhus showing to the media and the confidence that is reflecting on his face. We'll try to speak to him. Let's see what he says.
अगर आप सैनी साहब 16,000 से ज्यादा की लीड आपको मिली है, हरियाणा की बात कर रहे हैं, हरियाणा में भी मैंडेट आपको दिया गया है. हाथ में हाथ लग जाएगा. लाडवा की जनता का, लाडवा के समाने का माइक को लगने दो. मैं दिल से धन्यवाद नहीं मुंह पे उन्होंने जो आशीर्वाद जो पीछे रहेगा, मुंह से पीछे रहेगा, मैं उसके लिए लाडवा के लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ. मैं हरियाणा के 2 करोड़ 80 लाख लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ. और अपने लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री विश्व के नेता आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ये पूरा का पूरा श्रेय आदरणीय मोदी जी को देता हूँ. उनके आशीर्वाद से, उनकी गाइडलाइन के अंदर उनकी जो नीतियाँ हैं, उन नीतियों के ऊपर हरियाणा के लोगों ने मोहर लगाई है. मैं हरियाणा की जनता का यहाँ दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, उनको प्रणाम करता हूँ. वहीं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जो ये तीसरी बार हरियाणा की ऐतिहासिक जीत हुई है, इसके लिए भी मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का धन्यवाद करता हूँ. मैं अपनी उच्च लीडरशिप का धन्यवाद करता हूँ. मैं हरियाणा के लाखों भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं का दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि जिनकी कड़ी मेहनत और पसीना बहा करके उन्होंने इस ऐतिहासिक जीत का जो दिलवाई है वो पूरे धन्यवाद के पात्र हैं. हरियाणा के लोगों को दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. गोहाना की जलेबी की फैक्ट्री खेतों हाथ अलग से करो. जाने दो. मैडम पंकज उधर के तो आओ यार, उधर के आओ यार, एक मिनट.
Okay, that's the Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus, the man of the moment after he has put up
Welcome back. It's that time of the year when we worry about pollution and the quality of air. So we thought we'll give you a quick check on how it's faring in the Delhi NCR region where it tends to get the worst in the country. The latest numbers are alarming, especially the ones coming in from West Delhi in Mundka, which has topped the list with AQI touching 337. It has gone into the hazardous category over there. Anand Vihar recorded 184, while Narela stands at 169. Noida and Gurugram also struggle with AQI levels of 168, 173 respectively. And as you can look at those numbers over there, none of them really in the health equality. The rest of the country, even Mumbai, barring the days when it has rained, has been looking pretty bad. We'll keep a constant check on this and also give you some tips on what to do and when actually to bring out your air purifiers. With that, another quick break. We are back with all the latest on the stock market on the other side.
Lights!
Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus coming out from his residence, moving towards first the temple to offer. You can see the victory sign. You can see the victory sign of Narender Singh Sidhus showing to the media and the confidence that is reflecting on his face. We'll try to speak to him. Let's see what he says.
सैनी साहब 16,000 से ज्यादा की लीड आपको मिली है। हरियाणा की बात करो यार। हरियाणा में भी मैंडेट आपको दिया गया है। हाथ में हाथ लग जाएगा। लाडवा की जनता का, लाडवा के माइक को लगने दो। धन्यवाद नहीं मुंह पे पीछे रहेगा, मुंह से पीछे रहेगा। मैं उसके लिए लाडवा के लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के 280 लाख लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ और अपने लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री विश्व के नेता आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ये पूरा का पूरा श्रेय मैं आदरणीय मोदी जी को देता हूँ। उनके आशीर्वाद से, उनकी गाइडलाइन के अंदर उनकी जो नीतियाँ हैं, उन नीतियों के ऊपर हरियाणा के लोगों ने मोहर लगाई है। मैं हरियाणा की जनता का तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, उनको प्रणाम करता हूँ। वहीं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जो ये तीसरी बार हरियाणा की ऐतिहासिक जीत हुई है, इसके लिए भी मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं अपनी उच्च लीडरशिप का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के लाखों भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं का दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि जिनकी कड़ी मेहनत और पसीना बहा करके उन्होंने इस ऐतिहासिक जीत का जो दिलवाई है वो पूरे धन्यवाद के पात्र। हरियाणा के लोगों को दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गोहाना की जलेबी की फैक्ट्री
खेतों हाथ अलग से करो। जाने दो। मैडम पंकज उधर के तो यार, उधर क्या हो यार, एक मिनट।
Okay, that's the Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus, the man of the moment after he has put up that spectacular win, and I can't really declare it because the counting is still going on, but Sidhus has already put up that victory sign. He thanked the Prime Minister, he thanked the people of Haryana. He's still speaking. Let's just cut straight across and listen in.
It's time to bring you the special segment on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's start with how the markets are going to open this morning or fair to open this morning. GIFT Nifty indicates a stable opening for the Indian stock markets. Asian markets open higher, tracking the gains in the US stocks over there. Meanwhile, crude oil prices hold firm as traders weigh demand and supply side concerns. Let's look at the sector in focus. We are looking at global steel production that has been range-bound for the last few quarters due to subdued demand in major markets. China's dumping has dented near-term demand for electrodes, but the structural demand for the EAF route to steel production is intact, as is seen in environmental friendly as well. Now, secular trend towards EAF supports long-term demand outlook for graphite electrodes as well. So that could be one area to look at. You can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the graphite electrodes industry in India and various other actionable insights on the markets. It is a premier destination for all your investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control. With that, it's a wrap on today's edition. When we get back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we'll talk about another festive thing, which is drinks. But no, right in the morning, this is Breakfast Club. So we'll be talking about non-alcoholic beverages, which, believe it or not, has become the largest growing beverage sector in the country. Are they really good for you? You think they're nice, but what about the sugar content? Should you consume them or not? We'll bring you all the answers. See you tomorrow morning, 8. Bye-bye.
At L'Oréal.
Chief Minister Narender Singh Sidhus coming out from his residence, moving towards first the temple to offer, and you can see the victory sign. You can see the victory sign of Narender Singh Sidhus showing to the media and the confidence that is reflecting on his face. We'll try to speak to him. Let's see what he says.
अगर आप सैनी साहब 16,000 से ज्यादा की लीड आपको मिली है, हरियाणा की बात कर रहे हैं, हरियाणा में भी मैंडेट आपको दिया गया है। हाथ में हाथ लग जाएगा। लाडवा की जनता का, लाडवा के माइक को लगने दो, धन्यवाद नहीं मुंह पे पीछे रहेगा, मुंह से पीछे रहेगा। मैं उसके लिए लाडवा के लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के 2 लाख लोगों का दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ और अपने लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री विश्व के नेता आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ये पूरा का पूरा श्रेय आदरणीय मोदी जी को देता हूँ। उनके आशीर्वाद से, उनकी गाइडलाइन के अंदर उनकी जो नीतियाँ हैं, उन नीतियों के ऊपर हरियाणा के लोगों ने मोहर लगाई है। मैं हरियाणा की जनता का जहाँ दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, उनको प्रणाम करता हूँ। वहीं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जो ये तीसरी बार हरियाणा की ऐतिहासिक जीत हुई है, इसके लिए भी मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं अपनी उच्च लीडरशिप का धन्यवाद करता हूँ। मैं हरियाणा के लाखों भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं का दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि जिनकी कड़ी मेहनत और पसीना बहा करके उन्होंने इस ऐतिहासिक जीत का जो दिलवाई है वो पूरे धन्यवाद के पात्र। हरियाणा के लोगों को दिल से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गोहाना की जलेबी की फैक्ट्री ये तो हाथ अलग से करो।
उतर के आओ यार एक मिनट।
and a very good morning to all our viewers. You're watching the morning news show on CNN News 18 and I'm Sakshi Singh Littori. Over the next 60 minutes, we'll be walking you through the top headlines from the nation and across the globe. At the top of this segment, taking you straight to the Jharkhand. What a thriller it was that we witnessed yesterday, with the ruling BJP securing a historic third term in Haryana, winning 48 seats and halting a Congress comeback in the state after a decade. Prime Minister Modi hailed the party's performances in the assembly elections in Haryana and Jammu Kashmir as well. Prime Minister in fact celebrated the party's majority win, attributing the triumph to the politics of development and good governance. Following his historic victories, Prime Minister Modi ramped up attack on the Congress party, accusing them of trying to divide the nation on a global scale, framing it as part of the larger conspiracy against India's unity. In fact, sharpening the attack, he also said that the Grand Old Party is damaging the reputation of key institutions like the Election Commission and the judiciary of the country as well.
कांग्रेस आज पूरी तरह परजीवी पार्टी बन गई है। यहां हरियाणा में कांग्रेस परजीवी बनकर किसी के साथ नहीं थी, अकेली थी, तो उसे करारी हार मिली। पिछली बार कब कांग्रेस की किसी सरकार की वापसी हुई है? यानी जो सरकार में थे, कितने साल पहले वो दोबारा आए थे? करीब 13 साल पहले 2011 में असम में उनकी सरकार लौटी थी, बाकी एक भी नहीं लौटी।